Hey guys, it's Troy. I wanted to talk to you about one of my top pen brands that I enjoy. And you can see it's right here in front of me, Sheaffer. You know that I like modern, I like vintage. And quite honestly, some of my favorite Sheaffers are the old vintage Sheaffers. Especially circa 1920s into the early 30s is, to me, their heyday in pen making. But I do have a modern Sheaffer that's in production today that I want to be able to share with you, but I also wanted to share with you a little bit, just because I can and I find it interesting, a little bit of just a pick and choose of some of the evolution of Sheaffer. I have a drawer full of Sheaffers, both new and old, but I just picked a few representative samples here that I wanted to share with you. Like this is one of my favorite old Sheaffers right here. It's an old flat top from the 1920s. And then you've got, like one like this in a jade color. So then you come over to like the Sheaffer Triumph, and a really beautiful pen in that carmine red. Really enjoy that. Let's jump forward a little bit in time, and you've got the Sheaffer Imperial 2. That's a great pen. I managed to pick that up new old stock. In the 1960s or so, Sheaffer student cartridge pens. Over to the PFM. You get more modern, you get the Sheaffer Tyrannus right here, the Javelin 124. Next we've got the Sheaffer 100. This was the first modern Sheaffer that I had owned. And it's not a bad looking pen, and it's got the little Ferrari logo on it. So this was licensed for the Ferrari name. Skipping over one on purpose, the Sheaffer Pop. I've got a bunch of these, and it's just a plastic cartridge pen that it came out in conjunction with Star Wars on their branding. And I've got about 4 of these with different designs, just because sometimes I'm kind of a Star Wars geek and really enjoy the franchise. And this is a pen that I reviewed here just recently, within the past 4 months or so. This particular pen is the Sheaffer Icon. So you can see some of the designs and some of the changes in the modernization of their pen. This kind of reminds me a little bit of the Tyrannus, or has been likened unto it. But I wanted to compare that to this. This is a pen that's still in production. As a matter of fact, if I remember correctly, I thought that Brian Anderson, in his top 5 pens between $50 and $100, had listed this pen as one of his top. And this is one that I picked up on sale. Generally, this pen, the Sheaffer 300, will be retailing somewhere around $65, depending upon where you buy it. I've seen it cheaper in some places, but I managed to find a fantastic sale on this particular model. This was only about $25 over at Pen Boutique when they were running a sale. I'm assuming it's clearance. And I just said, I'll go ahead and I'll snatch it up. So it's a black lacquered Sheaffer 300, and I got the medium nib on it. And of course, made in China, as most modern Sheaffers are. So you've got that presentation box. Nothing special, nothing branded or for the pen model. Everything about it here is just the Sheaffer brand, so they can use it for multiple pens. So you open it up, and there sits the Sheaffer 300. Sits on a little pillow. You pull that out, lift up the pillow. Underneath, you've got an instruction booklet with 2 different Sheaffer cartridges that came with it. Looks to be one black and one blue. Going to set that aside. Now, this particular pen, the Sheaffer 300, I decided, when I saw it on sale, it was one of those I looked at it, do I want it or don't I? So I figured, since recently it was on the top 5 pens for Brian Anderson in that price range, I said, let's go ahead and get it out, and let's go ahead and do a video on it. One of the neat things about it, and you can see the difference, let's say, between the 100 and the 300, you can see the difference in the design on the clip. So here you've got a flat top, which I love Sheaffer flat top design anyway. But that clip goes all the way around. It starts on the back side of that cap, comes up, goes over the top, and then down for that finial. Then you've got a cap band up here, and it comes down and bulges out just a little bit. It comes down to another cap band here, where you do have the Sheaffer name on it, on that silver cap band. And then you've got almost that bifurcated clip with the Sheaffer white dot that has become so iconic. Compare that to what they were putting out for the Sheaffer 100 about 4 or 5 years ago, and you've got still that same nice black lacquer on a metal pen, the same kind of silver trim, but it is very different in its design, a little different on the clip, and definitely different on the dome of that finial there. So I decided let's give her a shot. Got a nice metal barrel, and it comes and it does taper down, and here at the tip you've got a chromed out tassie on that. Now, my understanding is that when I went to go purchase this pen, it was only this particular model with the particular trim that I got that was on sale. Because actually, when I went and I clicked on several different colors, the price changed on the website. So I'm assuming they just had a glut of this particular one, and were clearing out some of the old stock that was laying around for that Sheaffer 300. It is a slip cap, and it is one that I've been carrying an awful lot because it's a very decent pen, and you can see you've got that little inner cap there. It's an all metal cap with that plastic inner cap, and you pull it out and you have a standard type nib, or a traditional style nib on it, and then you've got a nice small taper, not a tremendous taper, but you do have some taper down on that section, and it is a smooth lacquered metal, or maybe it's a plastic feeling thing. And you unscrew, and it is a metal barrel, and that does seem like it's all plastic there. Now, I've been doing an awful lot of writing with it, and it did come with this converter. And let's see, show you a little bit right there. Let's see if I can get some of that ink down in there. But yeah, I've been using this pen an awful lot to do an awful lot of writing, daily carry, that kind of thing. And I was happy that it came with a converter. I didn't have to purchase a converter separately, rob one out of another pen, or have to use cartridges if I did not want. So, there we go. And that does feel like it's all plastic on that section. Put her back together. It's an awful lot of screwing to get that on. There we go. Posting. It does posts nicely and very securely, because you do get that point, you get that resistance, and that's on there. That's not coming off or anything right there. So it's a good post on it. But that cap is fairly heavy, and it does back weight it. So when I use it, I do not post it to write with. The length I've got no problem with, but it does significantly add to the weight on the back side of that pen, more so than I feel comfortable with. So fortunately for me, it is long enough to write with it comfortably unposted, and this is exactly how I use it right here. So, put it back together, you get a nice, firm snap right there. And that's what I like about this pen as well. It's not only is it a simple yet elegant design, it does have a good, solid, crisp snap. And I know that that pen is sealed, that cap is not coming off, and so far it has kept the nib nice and moist, and I have been able to pull it out and use it time and time again with absolutely no problems. We'll give you a writing sample here in just a moment after I give you some particulars on this pen. You know probably more than you want to about the Sheaffer 300. Let's go ahead and see how it writes, because no pen is worth the $25 or the $65 if it doesn't write well. And modern Sheaffers, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of modern Sheaffers. I like the vintage better because I like the way they write better and the way they feel better and the way they're manufactured better. I went ahead and put in this particular ink. It's a Carcos Black. This is a fairly generic Chinese ink that I managed to pick up, I think on Wish.com, or I'm trying to remember exactly where I got it. But, it is a fairly inexpensive black Chinese-made ink. So I figured I'd give it a shot in this pen. I've used it before. But let's go ahead and see how the Sheaffer 300 doth perform. So, the Sheaffer 300. All right, this is a medium nib. This is a modern Sheaffer, and it is still in production. So you're going to have a steel nib on it. And the retail, like I was sharing earlier, I've seen it on sale for as low as $25 on up right now. I just checked before I started recording this video, and the going rate that I'm seeing on some pen sellers, and reputable sellers at that, is at the $65 price point. It is, believe it or not, one of the better modern Sheaffers that I've used. I showed you some of the other ones like the Icon, the Pop, the Sheaffer 100. I gotta say, out of all the modern Sheaffers that I've got, especially current production models, including like the Tyrannus as well, let's throw that in for the modern. I do believe the 300 is probably my favorite out of the modern Sheaffers. I think they did a decent job on the quality of it. I think they did a decent job on the construction in terms of its design. It is simple yet elegant. It's something that looks like I would carry it with me to work, but I also feel comfortable carrying it with me on a daily basis wherever I go. I have kept it in my pen pouch an awful lot. It's been in my pocket an awful lot when I've gone places, and I've used it sitting here at this very desk a lot. And I've written letters with it to pen pals here just within the past several weeks when I got it out and inked it up. Getting back to the pen, it is a stiff nib. You're not going to really get much line variation out of it. I didn't expect I would for a steel modern nib on a Sheaffer, but it has been a fairly reliable writer. Anyway, the Sheaffer 300, I mean, for the price I paid especially, like I said, just $25 is what I paid. $65 is the going upper end of the retail market right now. And it's a good hefty pen. It's got some weight to it, decently constructed, and so far for me, generally has performed very well. If you're looking for something modern, Sheaffer 300 is actually worth looking at, and one of my favorite so far modern Sheaffers.